Welcome back to the show, everybody. So we got something for you today. You're going to want it. CoinDesk asked the question. It only took 2 years. Why Ripple? Why was Ripple targeted? Well, I'm going to give you the information. Stuart, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to show you some information today that shows you exactly why I believe Ripple was targeted over the thousands of other projects out there. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. The news is moving fast out here, ladies and gentlemen. $957 billion market cap. There's a lot of money missing, but things are happening today. We're going to get into them. Shout out to CoinPeprika. Download that app. Bitcoin 18,000 plus right now. Ethereum 1,200 plus. And we see XRP at the number 6 spot at 48 cents, up over 45% in the 7-day. Lots to do with being around that case. Let's start right here with CoinDesk, ladies and gentlemen. I want to show you this clip. Very quick question asked by this lady from CoinDesk right here. And it only took them 2 years, by the way, to ask this question. Because if you listen to the whole interview or watch the video I did this morning, this guy reveals that their smug look on his face that they thought for 2 years that they had it figured out, that XRP was a security. Well, guess what? You better think again, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this, where they try to be fair and objectionable.
Right? So as you just said, the Howey test is very confusing for a lot of people, subject to a lot of different interpretations. So my question for you is, why do you think Ripple got on the radar of the SEC in the first place? Because one could say that there are a lot of different projects that could have had this treatment. Why do you think Ripple was singled out for this kind of treatment?
Stuart, let me get this one. First of all, let me ask a question. You can think about your answer, CoinDesk. Why did it take you 2 years to even talk about this case to begin with? I think there's a lot there. Well, let me tell you what. Let's talk about this, because I want to start with some stuff you've seen. Then I want to start with some things you probably haven't seen. So let's go ahead and start with this right here. Let's first start with why Ripple. Well, let's have Gary Gensler at MIT, before becoming the SEC chairperson, tell you why.
To Philippine peso. That is called a bridge crypto or bridge currency. That's in fact what Ripple is trying to do with XRP. So Ripple is a company that started as a messaging, a payment messaging service to compete with SWIFT. And that messaging service, which we'll talk about more Thursday, has been adopted by many banks. More recently, in 2018, they rolled out a prototype of using a crypto token, XRP, as a bridge currency.
That's exactly right. And he knows it clear as a bell when he was there at his time at MIT before becoming the SEC chairperson. But let us not forget that Gary Gensler also came from Goldman Sachs, being alumni from there, just as was Jay Clayton. Now that's extremely important, because we're going to look at something else as well, ladies and gentlemen. And this is very key too. Let me get this for you.
Without having to hire a fleet of lawyers to try and figure it out.
I think that you're correct that there is a cost to build trust in the system. There is a cost to build trust in the system.
Central monopolist with another central monopolist. A lot of commercial banks aren't terribly excited about that. Maybe you're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks that are now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there, and you give them the native token. So there may.
Oh, a native token. There may be some other incentive ways to do this too. Oh, don't go anywhere. I know some of you have seen this, but don't you go anywhere. Oh, I'm telling you. Let's remember this, how it all started. This is from yesterday, Brad Garlinghouse on Fox, and listen to him take you very quickly back to the early days of all of this.
Tell me exactly why you think that this jump in prices happening? What news can you give us?
Look, it's hard to know. Honestly, I've watched crypto now. I've been in the business at Ripple for 7.5 years. I've been in crypto for about 9 years. It's really hard to know. What I would point to is a couple things. Before the SEC got involved
with you guys,
with us and ETH, because again, there's two factors here. One, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset ahead of ETH. And then,
did you hear that? Before the SEC got involved, before Jay Clayton got involved, Goldman alumni, just like Gary Gensler, his predecessor, right? Goldman alumni, central monopolist, as he refers to him, I believe Gary Gensler does. That clip right there from Brad Garlinghouse, I believe, reveals so much, because before the SEC got involved, XRP was at the number 2 spot. And what do we understand about all of this with Ethereum? And why is it so important in this case all along the way? Why has ETHgate been a real thing? I want you to watch this exchange with Senator Cynthia Lummis right here with Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan in the hearing from yesterday, I believe it was. And listen to the condescending attitude that Jamie Dimon chimes in with here, understanding that he is in fact a central monopolist in this banking system. And we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt at this point that JPM is also the largest holder and controller of the Ethereum network, which is not decentralized by a mile. Take a listen to this.
The real-time payment system, the ability to get a 24/7 wire system at the Fed would be critical to it, and their new real-time system ought to provide that. But one of the
look at the contempt on Jamie Dimon as he's sitting there listening.
Disadvantages in payment system technology is ability to pay on the weekends and move substantial amount of money that actually clears. T+0 securities settlement would be doable if you actually could have the money move during the night. And so I think we're all aware that we've connected our real-time payment system. We're connecting it to other parts of the world that we've put together through the clearinghouse. That'll enable money to move real time. You connect that with Zelle and things, you can move it with no cost to another banking client, as long as someone doesn't step in and say, oh, that is not sufficient to have Santander in Spain. You do the KYC so we can rely on it. We need some enabling things. And I think if we do that right, we can take, you will see the innovation this is already set up and already moving. And by the way, we move trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars a day very efficiently. So I think people's view of what's inefficient is kind of interesting, but you have to look at what really moves.
So already you see the case being made there by JP Morgan and his team, letting you know that we're the ones that do this, and we just need a little bit of some changes here and there, but we're the ones that handle this. We're the gatekeepers, or what does Gary Gensler call them? That's right, the central monopolist. Keep listening.
Well, we're aware that money was transferred in cryptocurrency as donations to Ukraine. They were spending it the next day. And if it had been transferred in US dollars, it would have taken about 10 days for it to reach. I see some of you shaking your heads. Disagree, Mr. Dimon?
Right now, we're moving $10 trillion around the world. Zipping and zapping through AML systems, OFAC systems, regulations, AI systems, cyber systems, safely, immediately, a lot of it's real time. You're talking about retail payments.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and I agree with that. That's a thing that we all can work on and fix. But that's a very small thing relative to the other.
Thank you for
Thank you for being here, she says. And you can see the condescending attitude, the smugness of him talking to her that way. I tell you, this is more evidence to me with the JPM coin, with the moves they've made behind the scenes to be in control of the Ethereum network, understanding that the SEC at the time stepped in when Ripple was hitting the number 2 spot in crypto, really proving. And I had a conversation with a legal analyst just past summer, And I told him, I said, one of the most fascinating things about all of this with the cases to me is, everyone asked, just like CoinDesk, they took them 2 years to ask it, why Ripple? Exactly. How did they know that Ripple was the one to be worried about? Because the technology works. Because XRP and the XRP ledger actually does what it says it can do. And so much more. That's why. Now, let's not get our needles stuck. We got some more to listen to here. Let's take a listen to this now. This is a clip that you need to see here. This is from the Oversight U.S. Bank Committee, Representative Trey Hollingsworth, and listen to this exchange here.
The gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Hollingsworth, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, good afternoon. I'm excited to be here with each of you. Before I get started on my questions, Mr. Moynihan, I wanted to let you know, Saruthi, raise your hand, Saruthi. She has been my team member for a couple of years now, but on Monday, she becomes a Bank of America team member, about which she is very, very excited. So I hope you'll take good care of her and know and recognize the talent that she has shown already in our office. I'm sure she'll do the same at Bank of America.
We will do that, and her father already works for us, so he'll take care of it.
You should have called us.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to chat about some of these issues today. What I'm really interested in is the state of the economy.
How are you floating your resume to big banks? I mean, you're supposed to be the ones, policing the big banks.
Grow up, Jamie.
There must be some kind of law against working for a financial institution right after you've been working in financial regulation, right?
No.
Hey! Doggy!
Hey! Come over here! What are you doing at Caesars?
He's a Goldman. Yeah.
Her father already works for us, so he'll take care of it.
You should have called us.
What a great clip. What a great clip this is, I tell you. And the central monopolists lined up in a row, ladies and gentlemen. And we know Goldman Sachs alumni heads up and has, from Clayton to Gensler, the SEC. Proven to me that that is where this case is. It is negotiating, I believe personally myself, for the central monopolists with Ripple and XRP over how much of the token, how much of the company are they going to have to give up to become a part of this working circle of the central monopolists? That's where I believe we are on this day, and that's how incestuous all of this has really become. And then there's this right here, shared from Michael Branch. It says right here, according to Warren Davis, that there's a small chance that the United States House of Representatives could pass a bill to regulate stablecoins by end of year, though it's more likely it will pass in the first quarter of 2023, says Warren Davidson. And this reminded me of what Senator Lummis had told us just a handful of weeks ago. If there was going to be any stablecoin legislation or otherwise passed by the end of this year, it was going to take the event of a black swan event to make it happen. Head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. You never know where this is going to go. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.